So a couple people are looking for some direction on problem number one. I just tested a little bit yesterday in the chat, but I didn't record it, so maybe that is why people are still having some questions about it. But for all of these types of problems, and again, we did a couple videos of looking at marginal benefits and marginal costs, and the longer one from last night went into more detail about, you got to set the marginals equal to each other. When we're looking at this question one here, the choice that this company is making, and I think everything kind of gets couched in these terms of there's an objective function that a company has, and it has these activities that it's doing. What this company has going for it is, well, its decision or its activity is deciding on how many of these operators it wants to hire. Its objective function, let's see, do they talk about that? They want to attain the optimal number of personal calls, minimize the total cost of personal calls. So they probably don't want to push the number of personal calls to 0, because that would be probably impossible to do. We do these optimization problems, and economists are always going to say that things have trade-offs, choices have trade-offs. So we might look at this question first and go, well, each minute of personal call costs the agency 50 cents in wasted wages. So it would seem like, wouldn't the agency just want to push the number of personal calls down to 0? Well, that would maybe be ideal if no one was making any personal calls at all. For any objective like that, you got to think about, well, the benefit of that would be there would be no personal calls made, which would be good because you wouldn't have any of these wasted wages. But there's a cost to being able to achieve that objective, which is going to come in the form of hiring these operators. And even with the 5 that we have here, we haven't bottomed out the personal calls. There's still 250 of them. Maybe we could extend this table and figure out where that would be. But again, there's going to be this trade-off between reducing these personal calls. That provides a benefit to the company. So again, I'm thinking about trying to figure out this problem in terms of its benefits and its costs, achieving this objective function in terms of its benefits and costs. So the benefit of this activity of hiring these operators, what do the operators do for the company? What's the benefit of having these operators? Well, they help to reduce these personal calls. So you can think about the benefit of an operator in terms of the reduction in the number of minutes, and that's kind of helpful to know. But if I jump ahead a little bit and think about, well, what is the cost of hiring these operators? Well, you have to pay them. And it doesn't actually get into how much they get paid until part B, C, and D, but you can actually get a little hint about it for part A. So I have to actually pay for these operators. The operators don't just work for free. So the benefit of having these reduction of calls comes at the cost of having to hire these operators. Again, the cost of hiring an operator is going to be in dollar amounts. So I can see in part B it's $38 an hour. Part C goes to 47. So my costs are in terms of dollars, and I want to compare apples to apples. The benefit side, as I'm just looking at it right now, is just in minutes. I could figure out what happens with the reduction of minutes as I hire these operators, but it's hard to compare the benefit in terms of minutes with the cost in terms of dollars. So reading through this question, I've got to figure out how can I sort of translate the benefit in terms of minutes into a benefit in terms of dollars. And I don't know if I want to go into a whole lot of more detail other than that, so that you'll be comparing dollars to dollars. You'll be comparing dollars of benefits with dollars of wages or dollars of costs that you're having to pay for these operators.